My talk is basically about how TEDx Amsterdam is not really just one day, but it's so much more than that. And a little thought about how we can transform ideas worth spreading into ideas worth doing. And it's almost unbelievable that this is the last session of the day. It really went so fast. I've been inspired the whole day by each and every speaker, and I have many insightful conversations during the breaks with nearly everyone, I guess. And many questions were asked, but one really stood out. The question was, why on earth did you ever sign up for the TEDx license, the TEDx Amsterdam license? Why are you organizing with your team, obviously, this whole thing, this whole event that is so much more than just one day? So I guess I owe you an explanation. The answer can be found in the newspaper. When you're reading the news, it sometimes feels like a journey through the desert. A desert that is filled with economic stress, undeniable pollution, and people who seem somehow desensitized, people full with apathy. And I'm an optimist, I've always been, but I don't like the way that this desert is expanding. So, watching TED Talks on TED.com or being at a conference with you here at the Stad Schouwburg, that takes you to the oasis for a moment. You know, an oasis of people who care, of radical ideas, futures that might just happen. And I think that we should be expanding that oasis. I think that we should be pushing back the desert. And the spotlight, which is now on me, should really be on people and projects who are doing the right thing, who are leading by example, who are not waiting for the recession to end, but who are acting right now. So, what can I do? I'm not built for the spotlight. I've never won a Nobel Prize. I'm not a scientist. I can sing opera. I'm allergic to ice, you know. I don't know how to avoid aging, so what can I do? Well, I can bring people together, you know, both offline and online. So my job is done, or better, TEDx Amsterdam's job is done the moment you talk to each other. The moment your industries meet, your minds mingle, and even if you're only inspired by one or two speakers of the whole day, I'm sure that these ideas will have an impact in the coming projects, the ventures, your artwork that you're going to see in the next months or even the next years. So if you look at TED as being brilliant in spreading ideas, the implementation of those ideas should be done on a local level. So going from TED to TEDx is transforming ideas worth spreading into ideas worth doing. So what I would like to do now is to give you 3 examples of ideas that were worth doing. And man, the ground in the Netherlands has been really fertile for TEDx. There are more than 100 people who are working as volunteers on this event, but also on other projects that we're doing. And I would like to give you some examples of what we are doing. Last July, we had so much fun in a nameless comedy theater just around the corner. We watched the live stream of TED Global from Oxford. Many people came and we all really enjoyed it. It was like we were in Oxford, but we had better jokes and better beer, etc. So a couple of months later, we gathered at the Dialogues House from ABN AMRO to attend TEDx Exchange. A wonderful event of which I would tell you more in a few seconds, but I know that people are working really hard on these events, so perhaps we could put the house lights up a bit. And guys from TEDx Exchange, TEDx Live, could you please stand up? I think we owe you a big thank you. These are the people who are organizing TEDx Live events. Look at the balcony also. We see you. Thank you. Great. So that was in September. And only 10 days ago, 200 kids gathered in a science museum They had so much fun. We had speakers on stage who were very young. We had speakers on stage who were old or who were young at heart. And it went crazy. It was total chaos, but we liked it so much. And also here, I know the people from TEDx Youth are also present. So again, please turn the house lights up. Guys from TEDx Youth, you are also here. Please stand up. Yeah, they did such a great job. And in 7 days from now, there'll be a live streaming and a unique event, TEDxAmsterdam Women, only 7 and 8 days from now. This will take place at a lovely place of Sotheby's. And I think the second day will be in Duncan Stutterham's basement, as I was told. So please keep an eye on this event as well. So, 3 examples of ideas that were spread via TED on TED.com, but that were worth doing on a local basis. In 1959, the General Assembly of the United Nations declared November 20th to be Universal Children's Day. A day to celebrate children, to celebrate children's rights, children's welfare. And earlier this year, in 2010, a group of TEDx organizers was so inspired by the fact that there is Universal Children's Day that they decided to host TEDx Youth events on and around November 20th. They called it TEDx Youth Day. A day, a TEDx Day for and by youth. And we thought, how could we connect all these different events that are happening across the globe? How can we emphasize the fact that we're in this together? So what we did, I interviewed people, children, about their hopes and dreams. And together with Bas Kennis from the popular Dutch band Bluff, we wrote a song. It was called We Will Change Everything, based on those hopes and dreams of children. And Alien Wills, creative genius from Big Shots, he came up with the brilliant idea of creating a video chain ladder. So what we did, we went into the Westerpark of Amsterdam with a few kids from the International School of Hilversum, the IMC Weekend School, and some kids who were just playing in the park, and we recorded a video clip. 3 minutes, and we intentionally left big parts blank as an invitation to other cities to join us. Did they join us? Yes, they did. We were amazed by the footage that was sent to us from all places. In total, 41 cities contributed in one way or another their stuff. They were singing, they were dancing, they were performing. And right now, I would like to show this video clip, the end result, here at the Stad Schouwburg. So, here it is.
I'm only a child, yet I know we are all in this together and should act as one single world towards one single goal.
One day she'll be president, a future White House resident. Will you trust her government about the mystic sentiment? He was only 15 years old and his story is still to be told. Then he got the wind control, turning garbage into gold. Who will change everything?
Because in order to make anything a reality, you have to dream about it first.
Who will change everything? Teaching is what she will do. Start a school in Kathmandu, helping kids to follow through for a better point of view. Questions about space and time, she answered them when she was 9. Formulas still to refine. Is she the next Einstein? Who will change everything? Who will change everything?
The goal is not to turn kids into your kind of adult, but rather better adults than you have been.
Will change everything.
empowering girls is the key to world peace.
Tell us to sit down and listen. Don't ever think that we don't care. We can make our own decisions. Don't forget it's just not fair. You really try to make a difference. We will make the change from here. Let us be the change that we wish to see. We will change everything.
Trust yourself and believe. Whatever happens, don't give up.
We will change everything. Not too late, not too late. We will change everything. Change everything. We will change everything. I can't do without you.
Thanks, yeah. And this video was showed at the opening of nearly 61 youth events happening around the world. So it was amazing to see the kids collaborate and being creative together. So how do we expand the Oasis? By doing. And after my talk, there will be an amazing opportunity for you to do actually something tonight. But first, I would like to take you back to September 20th. On that day, the Gates Foundation, together with TED conferences, organized the event TEDx Exchange, big event in New York that was watched by thousands of people worldwide also. And right now I would like to give the word to Melinda Gates on video, who will tell us a bit more about what happened on that day in September.
Hi, I'm Melinda Gates. In September 2010, global leaders met in New York to mark the anniversary of the Millennium Development Goals. 8 bold goals set by the United Nations in 2000 to spur development and improve health and economic conditions in the world's poorest countries. With TED Exchange that same week, we wanted to broaden the discussion and share it with you. What does the future hold for global health and development? And how can we all be part of making a better world? In New York, we heard ideas from Thailand's Mr. Condom, from Grasa Michel, a lifelong advocate for women's and children's rights, and from Swedish professor Hans Rosling. And around the world, we heard from you. We were amazed by the response of the TEDx community. Maternal health, poverty alleviation, HIV prevention, and family planning are not generally topics that generate global buzz, capture local headlines, or trend on Twitter. But they did, because more than 80 TEDx organizations from around the world came together to participate and take the conversation deeper into their own communities. I'm especially excited by the creativity of groups who, to borrow a phrase from the team at TEDxAmsterdam, transformed ideas worth spreading into ideas worth doing. The projects they've taken on are inspiring. We're looking forward to watching what comes of these collaborations, to sparking new conversations on these issues and others, and to continue exploring the future we'll make together.
Yeah. So, in Amsterdam, at the Dialogues House, we watched with a group of 100 people live the TEDx Exchange simulcast from New York. But after that, we had 8 speakers who were flown into Amsterdam, and they gave the talk of their lives. It was a TED Talk of 3 minutes, and then they had active discussions with the 100 people present to see how we could expand the Oasis, how we could grow the ideas. So it was amazing to see how these ideas grew bigger and how connections were made. 2 of those speakers are present right now. So again, please could we have the house lights on? And those two speakers are Ndubuisi Ekekwe. Where are you? There he is. Great to have you with us. Yeah. We call him ND, by the way. And you should definitely have to go talk to him during the breaks about his African Institute for Technology. Yeah. The other speaker is Marlon Parker. And don't take just my word for it. Let's see, Marlon, could you please come on stage? And perhaps you can share with the audience about what happened after September 20th. Circle is yours, Mr. Marlon Parker.
Good evening. Now, as a young boy, my teacher once asked me this question. Marlon, what are you going to do when you grow up? And I simply responded to her. I said, teacher, I want to grow taller. Now, of course, she wasn't much amused with that, so she asked me why. And I simply said, because I want to change the world. So, as a young boy, wanting to change the world had only one reason for me. The reason for changing the world was because by being taller, I'll be able to reach the top shelf of our kitchen cupboard, because that was where my grandmother used to hide the sugar. Now, growing up on the Cape Flats, in very notorious conditions, tough conditions, sugar was a treat. But it wasn't the sugar that was basically part of my world. My family was part of my world. My friends was my world. My neighbors, my community. And 2.5 years ago, I saw something that was happening in my community. My community was being plagued by lots of drug addiction, gang violence, HIV and AIDS, large volumes of teenage pregnancy, poverty, unemployment. And somehow, those same words that I uttered many years ago basically came back at me. Because what I saw when I look into the eyes of people that I know and in the eyes of people that I love, I actually saw that they've got no hope. And I understand that hope is what actually changed the lives of people. Because hope is the thing that gives people a certainty in the present and an expectation for the future. So out of that, an idea was birthed. A simple idea to basically give a solution where people can access hope, where people can access services. So what we did, we basically developed a system that allows people to access services via their mobile phone. So basically they could access services around, if it's HIV and AIDS, or they're suffering from depression, or whatever the case might be. And literally at no cost to them, they will be able to engage with our hope champions. So it was an idea that we decided we're going to have to try this out. So what we did, we went to a local school, and this was the worst school in the community, on the Cape Flats, right? So we went to the principal, we said, Principal, can you please give us 10 of your worst learners, the ones that you really don't want in the school? Because we believe that if you can change the worst, then we can change anybody after that. So the principal went back to his office, he came back with a list of half the school. You know, we had to negotiate with him, say, no, we only need 10, because we don't know if this is actually going to work. Anyway, so what happened was we then started chatting to these 10 kids. A week later, we had 50 kids that was now communicating with us via their mobile phones, asking for help, saying that they got problems at home, abuse, and so forth. A month later, we had 100, and the numbers kept on growing. And the one thing that we've realized was actually that there were a lot of people that was reaching out, that was looking for hope in our surrounding communities. And wherever we had opportunities where there was people that need specific expertise, we were actually able, for example, to connect someone in a remote area with a professional psychologist in the UK through the use of mobile technology and the internet. And that at no cost. So all of a sudden, people had opportunities and outlets for hope via their mobile phones. And it was that journey that actually led me to Amsterdam in September, where I came to the TEDx Exchange, didn't know what to expect. You saw me earlier in the image, I was standing like, you know, I was literally scared out of my boots. But the thing that happened for me on that night was I was really inspired. But at the same time, there was this lady by the name of Melinda Gates that challenged me because she was saying that it's all about changing your community changing nations. The same thing that I was sitting with 2.5 years ago. And of course I thought, let's see what they were going to tell me around the tables. And we had a lot of heated conversations. But I was empowered, I was encouraged, and I was fired up. And at the end of the night, someone asked me this question. Marlon, can you give one word that describes the evening for you? And I simply said, I am hopeful. I became hopeful that what we saw happening at the southern tip of Africa, on the Cape Flats, a community that was destroyed by all kinds of plagues, what we saw happening there through the use of innovation, I believe that that same thing that we saw there can actually happen throughout the world. And that was what I became hopeful about. So, since the 20th of September, what has transpired since then? Because at TEDx, it was all about looking at taking this beyond just South Africa. So what we did, and I'm now making this announcement, you're the first to hear about it, we literally, over the last 10 weeks, I got back home and we literally decided that we're going to expand our services with immediate effect to other parts of the world. So what has happened is actually now the same mobile services that we were offering to our local community has now expanded into other parts of Africa as well. And not just in Africa, but early next year, we're actually going to have some of these services being located in some parts of Europe, as well as some parts of Southeast Asia. And that was all because of TEDx Exchange, giving us this fire to go and do this. Another thing that I'm glad to announce, remember at the beginning of the story, I said we started with 10 kids in a classroom. Today, we are actually supporting over 250,000 people through the use of mobile technology, giving people hope and access to services that they so much need. And at the end of the day, if there's one thing that I've come to, a lesson that I've learned, is the following. I've learned the lesson that people really need hope to change their world. And tonight, with every fiber of my being, I believe that we in this room can change this world. And the way we start doing that is by changing someone's world. Because 10 weeks ago, in this beautiful city of Amsterdam, TED changed my world. Thank you.
Wow, Rutger Hauer coined the phrase, the thing about the internet is sharing, but Marlon, you coined the term hopeful. Very nice, thank you so much. So, if you think that you can contribute to the hope of Marlon or one of the other projects, please take a look at TEDxChange.nl. On the homepage we have all projects listed, so you can click on one of them to see how you can help this project become bigger. So perhaps next year, here on stage, we can talk about that progress. Right, so the third example of ideas worth doing has to do with a new chapter in the TEDx Amsterdam history. I've said it many times, TED is an excuse for smart people to get together, share ideas, and make stuff happen. Well, the last 5 months we challenge you, the TEDx community, to send in your ideas, to let us know which projects you are very passionate about. This afternoon you have voted, and right after my talk there will be an auction. We will raise money to help grow this idea, to finance this project. Ideas worth doing. That is the auction that we will hear about later. But if you have the feeling that you also think that we should be expanding the oasis, pushing back the desert, you can email me, jim@TEDxAmsterdam.nl. We could see which projects you have or which services you would like to provide to see what other ideas there are that are worth doing. So, if TED is an excuse for smart people to share ideas and make stuff happen, let's make it happen tonight. Thank you so much for your attention.